So VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen that your body can use during exercise. I want to talk about the correlation between having a high VO2 max and longevity. There's this study that I was reading to based on a podcast that I was listening to called the Peter Attia Drive. The study basically has 120,000 participants, mainly people aged 50 to 53, male and female. They categorized these participants into I think 5 categories. It was low, below average, average, above average, and elite level performers in terms of cardiorespiratory fitness and VO2 max. So this study was really interesting. Some of the key takeaways here that I found really interesting: the jump from low to below average was categorized as 25th to 50th percentile, and low was the bottom of the chain. So jumping just from the low group to the below average group resulted in a 50% reduction in mortality. When you go from below average to above average, the risk for mortality decreases even more, up to 60%. The risk for mortality obviously just continues to decrease as you get more fit and as you build more cardiorespiratory fitness in this study that I found. So it's pretty important that VO2 max is a key component to, living a long, healthy life. So you guys are probably also familiar with zone training or heart rate zones. This podcast that I was listening to, which I'll link in the description of this video, was talking about the importance of zone 1, zone 2, and zone 5 training. Most of our life we spend in one of these zones. So zone 2 training is a great way to build up mitochondrial function and efficiency. And what the mitochondria does in your cells is convert food into energy that your cells can use. It's a really important component to processing and converting energy in your body. Zone 2 training is also one of the best levels that you can train at to oxidize or burn fat. The more time that you spend in zone 2, the better your body will get at metabolizing and oxidizing, burning fat, and then also just strengthening your cells. So it's just a really good zone to train at. You can train at zone 2 if you stay at about 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. You should basically be able to hold a conversation throughout your workout if you're training at zone 2. You should maybe have a little bit of labored breathing, but for the most part you should basically be able to hold a conversation throughout your entire workout without straining for breath. That is going to build that aerobic base that you need in order to improve your VO2 max and improve your longevity. Zone 5 training is really important as well. Zone 5 training is actually going to be more focused for building the VO2 max. It's 90 to 100% of effort, max effort. Zone 5 training is not as important in the sense that you don't need to spend as much time as you do in zone 2, but it is definitely very important to building the VO2 max and building your endurance. Zone 5 and zone 2 training are going to be the most important training zones for building your aerobic base, building your cellular strength, and then building your aerobic capacity, resulting in just a more functional, healthy body. So it's really important to spend time training in these zones. If you're starting out zone 2, you should aim to maybe start out with about 2 hours a week, but as you progress more into your exercise routine, you should aim to get about 3 to 4 hours of zone 2 training. So if you're training 4 times a week, that's 30-minute sessions. It's definitely doable, and it makes a huge impact over the course of your life. And just to remind you, the study that I mentioned earlier, those were 50, 53-year-old patients, right? So if you're starting in your 20s or 30s and you're keeping this up throughout your life, the compound interest that you're going to accumulate over time is going to be exponential in basically bringing your risk for mortality down over the course of your life. So it really pays off dividends to start at an earlier age and just make that a habit in your life. Yeah, so that was some of the stuff that I learned in this podcast that I listened to. I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the description so you guys check it out and let me know what you think. I used to be a personal trainer for 3.5 years, so I take this stuff pretty seriously. I think it's definitely a part of my identity. I make sure that I'm always exercising because I know it's so important to not only your physiological health, but of course your mental health as well. It's just like a domino effect. It just makes me feel a lot better. I can't stress how important it is enough. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you guys think.